installed on your console. That's a different version to 1.53. So if I press options on this version and go to information, you can see this is the latest. UH release 1.59, which is not compatible. You want to delete that version first, so get rid of that from your PS. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete that version of Netflix. So it's no longer on my console. Now we're also going to just set up our network connection. We might as well just do this now. So if we go up to network, set up an internet connection using Wi-Fi or LAN cable, whatever you normally use. But we need to say that we're using a custom setup here, and we're gonna say automatic IP. Do not specify DHCP. We can do an automatic DNS, automatic MTU. But the proxy server, we need to tell it to use a proxy server. Now, you can either set this up on locally, your own computer, or use the public address. For quickness, we'll just use the public IP address because everything's already set up for you. Just enter the IP address 17 to DOT105 DOT156. And then for the port number, we need to change that to 42069. And then we're gonna say next, and the internet settings have been updated. So that should block the connection, preventing Netflix from being updated to the latest version. And it will also automatically inject the exploit when we load the Netflix application once we have it installed. So now all we need to do is turn off our PS4. Then just plug in the USB drive that contains extended storage image, which has Netflix on it. Okay, so I rebooted. For we now have the extended storage drive connected. So if I go back over to library, we can see we have Netflix installed, but if I hit options and go to information, you can see it's on version 1.53 now. So that's the version from the extended storage image. But what you should do is copy that extended storage version over to the internal storage. So if we head over to storage here, we've got extended storage. We'll select that applications. Netflix is right here. So if I press options over it and move to system storage, select it and then tell it to move that over to the system storage. And that frees up the external USB, so we don't need that anymore. So now we can remove that extended drive if we hold down the PS button. We can go over to I believe it's sound and devices. We scroll down, we can say stop using extended storage, and that will deactivate it. And now we can disconnect that from our PS4 and plug it back into your computer. Or you can just plug any other USB drive into your computer now all we need to be installed, so we can load that to jailbreak our console. So if I right-click on the Start menu and go into Disk Management, I'm gonna reformat that USB drive. So it should come up here saying it's not recognized. So I'll just format it here. And then once that's done, it should appear in the bottom list here. So there is the same drive that was extended storage for the PS. I'm just gonna right-click and create a new simple volume. And then we'll click Next. Assign a drive letter, make sure the file system exFAT, not NTFS. And I'll give it the label of USB. And then I'll click Finish. And that will turn it into a working drive again for the computer. So here it is right here on my computer. So I can now go into that USB drive. Again, you can use any USB drive for this part as long as it's exFAT or FAT3 to format. We're gonna open up the Goldhen zip file and extract the goldhen.bin to the root of the USB drive. And then of course we just need to rename that file to payload.bin instead of goldhen.bin. But again, make sure that you have view show file name extensions, so you have the file correctly named payload.bin. And then you should be good to go. So plug that USB back into the PS. And we should be finally ready to run the jailbreak. So back on the PS, we're gonna head over to the library. Go to the Netflix application and launch it. So we're gonna select Start. And that's going to run because we have the license on our account for Netflix. And now we just wait for the exploit to do its thing. Okay, here we go. Netflix and hack is loading up. Loading the exploit. Wow, that was fast. Look at that. So USB payload was found. It's copying the payload to the data folder, which means the next time we want to run just load Gold10 from the data folder on the hard drive. You will not need the USB drive plugged in because we've copied the Netflix application to the console storage. As well as the Gold10 payload is now on the console storage. So we're all good there, and yeah, as you can see, we're up and running. Here it is, Goldhen is loaded. We have Goldhen fully up and running here on our PS4 now. Again, this is 12.02 that we cannot use this up to the latest firmwares at the moment. So 12.02 that can be jailbroken using this because it's using the labs not the poop exploit or net control exploit, because that exploit has trouble being loaded through a different userland exploit other than the Blu-ray and WebKit exploits. Therefore, we're limited to 12.02 at the moment as the highest firmware that we can jailbreak using. So that's how you get the jailbreak setup using the proxy server. But if you want to be able to set it up locally instead, so that you're not relying on that public IP address, because maybe the server goes down in the future or goes down for maintenance when you're trying to use it, and then you can no longer get it running and you can't use the jailbreak. So if you want to be able to set things up locally, you can set up the proxy locally on your computer and then just connect to that on your PS4 and get it to inject the exploit for you instead of relying on that public server. So if you want to do that, I'll quickly show you how that's done. Basically, all you need to do is go to the Netflix and hack project, go to the GitHub code and download it as a zip file, and then extract that over to your computer. If we open up the folder, we go into the PS4 we right-click in this folder and open in terminal. You might need to hold the Shift key down on your keyboard when you right-click to get that option, or select more options in the right-click menu. So you do need to have Python installed on your computer. If you type in Python and press enter, if it says Python here, that means it is installed, and you can then type in exit open and close brackets exit out of that section now if it opens up the Microsoft Store, bringing you to the Python page on the Microsoft Store. Then just select the option on the store to get it installed. To install Python version 3.11 or 3.1 to I think 3.11 is what you want. So just go ahead and install that version of Python. Then we also need to install the man in the middle proxy, which we can do through the pip installer by typing in pip install, and then mitten for man in the middle proxy, and then press enter and let that install. In my case, I already have it installed. And then you can run the proxy by typing in mitm proxy -s and then proxy.py and press enter. And that should run the proxy server right there. It may also ask you to allow access on your firewall on your computer's firewall. So just say yes to allow access. You also need to get your computer's IP address, which you can get from your settings page on Windows 11 by going to network and internet, and then Ethernet or Wi-Fi, whichever way you're connected. And then check your IPv4 address here, so 19.168.dot.137.dot. And then if we head over to our settings page, go to our network settings, set up an internet connection using Wi-Fi or LAN using a custom setup again. We're gonna do automatic, do not specify automatic. And then for the proxy server, use a proxy. But this time you just enter the local IP address of your computer on your own network as the IP address, and then for the port number, we just enter 8080, which is the common proxy port number. And then we are good to go, so that's basically it. So now if I go and run the Netflix application again, so we'll just go ahead and start it. I know the jailbreak, but we should at least see if the proxy server is working here or not. Okay, and as you can see, we get Netflix and hack showing up there. And it is basically running the exploit again, but obviously Goldhen's already loaded. So that is actually working, so you can set it up locally instead of using the public server. The public server is the easiest option, but if it ever goes down in the future, it's good to know how to set up the server yourself on your own device, so that you don't have to rely on somebody else to maintain that. But yeah, that's basically it. So you can now jailbreak your console using the Netflix application if you're lucky enough to have the license for Netflix still on your console from whenever you download Netflix at some point in the past, and you need to be on a jailbreakable firmware 12.02 or lower, not 12.52, because this uses the older labs exploit. Now, if you're able to use the revert method, which is what I used to get Netflix on here, you can basically update to the latest firmware, download Netflix, so that you have the license on your account, and back then to a jailbreakable firmware to use it to jailbreak, and which is what I did here. However, Again, that's quite an involved process. I'll leave links if you're interested in the description to my video on how to set up the revert mod, as well as a video on how to revert the console while retaining your licenses if you're interested. But I really don't expect many people to actually try to attempt because it is quite an involved process. But anyway, that's how you jailbreak the console using the Netflix with this new update from Earth Onion, which also now allows you to install Netflix using an extended storage drive. So hope you guys enjoyed this video or found the information useful. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and once again, as